Hi guys, it's Cindy Leach, your Polymer Clay Tutor, and today's PCT Show and Tell. I'm going to be reviewing the book, The Complete Guide to Making Wire Jewelry by Wing Mun Devenney. Now, I had a stack of craft books sent to me by the publisher Barrons, and I've done a couple of book reviews in the past, so here is another one. Now, wire working is a wonderful skill to add to your polymer clay skill set. Several years ago, I started making polymer clay jewelry, and I noticed that when I upped my wire working skills, the rest of my work looked better. And I've recently done a video on called A Million and One Polymer Clay Necklaces, and here's a couple of examples from there. And then I also did another one called A Million and One Polymer Clay Earrings, and here's some examples from there. And in all of my work, you'll see lots and lots of wire work in there. And so I had to learn how to do it mostly on my own, a little bit of research, lots and lots of practice. So when this book landed on my desk, I was very curious to see if it was going to be a good one to recommend to you guys. So I will just go through this book and show you what it's all about and what my views are on it. Okay, so first of all, it is a nice book. It feels good. It's a nice size and fairly thick. It's got lots of information in it, and the photography is really beautiful. That is one of the really great things about this book, is that the pictures are really nice and clear, and you can really see the different steps on it. There's the regular kind of information, you know, the intro and that kind of thing about design and inspiration. She's got a shot of her studio, which is I particularly love because it looks a lot like my studio. But hers is more focused strictly on jewelry making and storage, so she's got lots of neat ideas in here. Then she talks about wire, which this whole book is about, and the different types of wire, and the different gauges and all that kind of stuff, the different hardnesses of wire. All of this information that's in here is really good information. Often they kind of go too surfacey with information like this, and you're not getting much meat, but this one actually has really good information that would have been really nice to know at the beginning of my wire working journey. She talks about different findings that you'll use, the different tools, and it's all good information, all stuff that anyone starting out would like, and actually even an intermediate would enjoy this book as well. Then the next section, it goes into techniques. So there's quite a bit of information in this area. She talks about work hardening wire, which is really important to understand the hardness and how to make your wire harder and what to avoid. You know, if you can break wire if you make it too hard. There's lots of different things about cutting wire, the types of tools you're going to need, how to use your pliers, and you can see that the photographs are nice and clear. And I didn't see any holes in the information. That's a very common thing that happens, is there's big holes in information, and I did not see that anywhere in this book. Now, I've done lots of wire work, so most of the stuff was stuff that I'd seen before. There was a head pin here called a knotted end head pin. So it's got a little knot on the end of it. And so I thought, well, I might as well try that. I haven't tried it before. And I tried it following the instructions. And here's my little one that I made. It's really easy. And the information was clear enough that I could make it exactly how she made it. So that was good. Then there was another little thing in here I hadn't made before. I'd done there's lots of hooks and clasps. In my necklace tutorial, or not tutorial, the video that has the million necklaces in it, I show a lot of clasps and things, and these are showing how to make them in here, some of them anyways. They also show how to do earring hooks, or ear wires, we often call them. The nice thing I read in here, one of the things I always look for when somebody teaches you how to make ear wires is whether or not they tell you to use a cup burr and round off the very end that goes into your ear. And she does. She mentions that. So that means that this is a person that knows what they're talking about. And the reason for that is that if you just cut off the end of the ear wire and you don't file it or round it off really nicely, it can end up scratching and cutting your ear hole in your ear. So, and a lot of people don't mention that. So seeing that means that she takes care to the instructions. Also, there's several different ear wire designs, ear studs, really neat stuff in here. Oh, here's the one that I was saying that I had not tried before. I've made lots of cord ends. I've done some tutorials on that actually, but I hadn't made one like this one here that's just a closed off end that you would make for like a bolo tie or something like that. And so I just followed the instructions and made a couple of little cord ends for this wire here. I didn't glue them on because I'm going to keep them on here. I'm going to use this leather cord for something else, but it works really well. The design, the information is good. So there's that whole section, lots of information there, and it's nice and thick. There's lots of, it's a good encyclopedia. Then they go into using a wire jig. Maybe there's a better picture here that will be where you use the pegs in the pegboard and then you bend your wire around the jig. There's lots of neat things that you can do with that. I actually don't have one of those yet. I have lots of things, but I don't have that yet. So it's something that I haven't done much of, obviously, if I don't have the tool. But they've got lots of neat little ideas in here, some patterns. And in fact, in the back, they have some patterns that you can copy. I'll talk about those in a second. Here she talks about wire coiling, which is a nice technique to add. I've done some of that. And all this information is good in here. Some crinkly tools for putting little kinks in wire, making spirals, that kind of thing. How to use jewelry mandrels. This section, oh, it's not here yet. I'll come up to it. There was some neat designs in it that I'll show you in a sec. Okay, she also talks about doing French knitting, which is kind of, we used to do something similar to that with just some yarn when I was a little girl, and now they've got this little tool for doing that with wire. She even does some macrame with wire. Wire twisting, handmade chain. She's got the same pattern here for making the Byzantine chain, though I don't believe she calls it Byzantine. She just doesn't call it any particular chainmail. That is the same chainmail that I have made for this polymer clay necklace here. I made this quite a few years ago with different instructions, and it is a neat technique to be able to do. You take little jump rings and you attach them into a nice chain. Lots of other chain kind of things in here. So there is, like I said, here's some really good information that was missing from the book that I previously reviewed. They show you actually how to use the ribbon cord ends and the tube caps, closed-ended caps, how to add the cord, and they've got some neat little tips in here using tape and then glue and cutting it and trimming it. So this is really well thought out. It's got the information that you need to do a good job. Then there's a section on the projects. If I have any, if there's anything that I didn't really like about this book, it's this little section on the projects. I'm not super crazy about the project designs. These ones are okay, but there's a couple in here that's just really not my style. So I probably won't make these projects anytime soon. This one I kind of like. It's simple and pretty, this twisted bangle. But some of the other ones are kind of, I didn't like. But that's mostly taste, I think. And then there was another thing, where is it? A little bit further in, they have some, they show you how to make a brooch, another project. Then, where is it? Okay, there's a section at the back here called a pattern directory. And they've got where all these different patterns that you can follow along to make these different wire patterned things on a jig. I think that's really quite clever. Though a couple of the designs, a lot of them are really neat, but a couple of the designs I just can't see working in a very functional manner. Most of these are fine, but there was a couple in here. Let me just show you an example. For example, this martini glass. Here's the pattern here. It looks neat flat. Maybe it would work on a card, but in jewelry it's not going to work very well. First of all, how is that stick going to stay there? It's just a separate piece, so it would just be somewhere on your bracelet or something. I'm not sure how that would work. And then the bottom, this is where the wires cross at the bottom. They're not attached to each other at all. They're just kind of sitting on top of each other. And that's going to cause problems. It's going to snag on things. You'd have to maybe put a coil along the whole bottom or whatever. And the same thing goes with this house design. There's some sort of just overlap parts. But these other ones, like this heart where they actually take the end and wrap it into an end, that could work quite well. And a lot of the other ones are fine. But some of these ones where the wires just kind of sit across from each other, it's not going to work in jewelry very well. It worked fine in some other kind of crafting project, but not jewelry, in my opinion. But there's some neat patterns in here, lots of great stuff. Now, my opinion is on this book is that it is a great book. I really liked it. It even is it sparked some neat ideas for me. I think this is one of those books that is actually worth the price out there. The price of this one, today's date, we're in 2016. It says on the back here, about $23 in the US and about $27.50 in Canada. Of course, everything's more expensive in Canada. But I think it's worth the price. I think you'll go back to it. Anyone that has never worked with wire before, I think there is no holes in the information that I could see anyways. And I think it would make a good book for someone who wanted to add wire to their jewelry making skills. And it really makes a big difference. You're just grabbing some store-bought ear wires and hanging some beads on it is not near as artistic as making your own ear wires, and it'll make a big difference if your finishing work is nice and the ends are nice and you've filed and followed a lot of the instructions and done some good wire working with your polymer clay beads and stuff like that, because it ups the value of your piece and it makes it come across much more professional. All right, so I hope that was helpful for you. If it was, do let us know if you liked this video. And if you've got a book you'd like me to review, a product you'd like to learn more about, a technique that you don't understand, and you don't see it in our great huge list of videos that we've done already, then make sure to leave those suggestions in the comments section below. All right, and so we'll see you next time, and bye for now.